Hey, welcome to Family Rising Cut.
Hey.
Hey everyone, welcome to Family Rising. This is our first episode of the Nursing Nook, where I will be talking about my breastfeeding experience. It's been quite a journey for the last 5 months, and I just wanted to start out by saying, it was my intention to breastfeed Antler, and I wasn't holding myself to any standards, but I was pretty much like, I'm gonna do this. And I really wanted to find the support and the resources and the things I would need to support me in doing it. And I wanted to talk about what that looks like and what that may need to look like for moms that really do want to breastfeed. Figuring out what kind of support there is at the hospital or birth center or wherever you're giving birth. I mean, if you're planning to give birth at home, then I would definitely seek outside lactation support. But identifying where there is lactation support, I think, is really key. So I really think figuring out where your lactation support team is before you even give birth while you're still pregnant is key. We were planning to give birth at the birthing center, and we ended up at the hospital, but we still knew, okay, our team that's going to support us after the baby comes out with lactation and breastfeeding is at the birthing center, and I know how to contact them. So I definitely recommend checking into what kind of lactation specialist support is in the hospital or birthing center or in your area, and meeting with them, talking with them. We interviewed ours beforehand and asked questions we were curious about. Hey. Cut.
Paparazzi.
Do you have a paparazzi?
Some paparazzi.
Yeah. The first step is totally finding where your lactation support team is. And I say that because I would not be sitting here 5 months breastfeeding without my lactation team. No way. And I think that we're taught as women in America to not call on people for help because we're bothering them. And I just feel like that was like a really important time for me to utilize the support that was there, because it was going to keep my baby alive. I mean, I must have called them like 20 times in one night because I couldn't get him to latch right. Utilizing the support in the hospital is really what got me going. Again, I was only there for 24 hours, but every time I called on them, they would come and readjust and show me a new position and show me why it wasn't working. So important to utilize that support. And then when I got home, then I was in the hands of the lactation team that I signed up with at the birthing center that I was originally giving birth at until I got transferred to the hospital. And they were also available 24 hours a day, around the clock, and I utilized that support. They were able to make a couple of house calls when we weren't able to get out and go there. They came here and they saw how our house is set up and what kind of pillows we have and how the bedroom is set up and the couches and how we are trying to breastfeed, and then they would make recommendations. For instance, I ended up getting a recliner chair because I felt like that was much easier to breastfeed in, and that's what I was using at the lactation office. I was in a recliner and they were helping me, and I'm like, I can do it in a recliner. And so we ended up finding a free recliner on Craigslist and just using that for the months that I needed it, and that was a major support. I think the other thing about going home from the hospital or the birthing center, or just making the transition from I just had the baby and I'm breastfeeding for the first time, to okay, now this is my full-time job, because breastfeeding has to happen pretty much every 2 hours when the baby's first born for a while. I think it's a lot to take in as a new mom. Like, you just perform the most intense physical act of your entire life. For me, I had natural childbirth, and I know that there's another experience for people that have a C-section, but regardless, they're very, very intense experiences. And so you're in a lot of pain from that, And then there's new pain from the baby trying to latch on. I think that nipple pain is really, really common, especially in the beginning of your breastfeeding journey, because you and the baby don't know what you're doing yet, and the baby is trying to figure out how to get the milk out, how to latch on correctly. You're trying to support that. I just remember feeling like, oh my God, all of my private parts feel like they're on fire, and it just is intense. So the other thing is the fear, right? The fear that starts before you even give birth about breastfeeding, because there's just so many very heavy opinions about breastfeeding all around us. You know, you have family members, other women in your family that have gone through it, giving you advice. I can't tell you how many people told me that I needed to roughen up my nipples, or rough up my nipples before I had the baby, so that my nipples could be prepared for the experience. And I didn't really believe in doing that, because I was like, why would I want to inflict pain upon myself before this baby comes out? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. But I think it's normal for you to experience fear about the pain. You know, there's fear about the pain of the birth, there's fear about the pain of the breastfeeding, there's fear about, can I do this? Can I sustain this? What happens if my baby isn't getting enough? You know, we were scared that our baby wasn't getting enough initially, because my milk supply was delayed and did come in a little late. And I will talk about that more in detail in another video. But I think the fear overall, when you're in the hospital, the fear intensifies, because you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go home, and all this help that I have on call is not going to be here physically anymore, and I'm going to be in my own home trying to do this in the middle of the night. And so there's just a lot of fear about, can I take all of these support systems home with me, or can I do this? Can me and my partner do this? You know, there's just so much fear that comes up even before the baby comes out, and then when they're out, you're really just like, whoa, I was not expecting this. This is a lot. So breastfeeding is a journey for any person that chooses to do it. So there's no judgment against, you know, people that do it, don't do it, and for how long you do it. This is just my journey and what I have found to be the experience, and I'm just hoping that this insight can be helpful for other breastfeeding parents out there, in some way, shape, or form, because breastfeeding isn't just breastfeeding. It's not like this moment your baby comes out and crawls up to your nipple and all of a sudden everything is fine. It's, you know, figuring out how you can do this, how you can support your physical body, how you can actually show up to this task and feel good about it. Thanks for watching the video. I'm really excited about this family rising journey that we're on together. Please like and subscribe and share with your parent friends, share on your Instagram. Just get the word out there. I feel like it's important to share each other's stories, and I'll see you next week.